Your privacy has always been important to me, and I would never say something that you didn't say. But I know that if you look at me, then clearly the world will know that you've already had the forbidden.
The phone call that shook daytime television began with 3 words that no one expected. "You're fired, Sherri." There was no warning, no carefully worded public announcement, no polite corporate press release. Just a cold, blunt message that reportedly left Sherri Shepherd staring at her phone in complete disbelief. Behind the scenes, producers scrambled, their movements frantic, like a fire had suddenly broken out in the building. Within minutes, the news began leaking, spreading across the industry and then exploding online. What happened next didn't just shake daytime TV, it detonated it entirely. Sherri Shepherd's show wasn't struggling. There were no scandalous headlines dragging it down, and it certainly wasn't experiencing plummeting ratings, which is usually the official excuse networks give when they cancel a program. By every visible measure, the show was performing well. Which is why, when the sudden cancellation hit the internet, fans immediately started asking the question that nobody wanted to hear. What had Sherri done? At first, there was no clear answer. Then the whispers began. Industry insiders started sharing cryptic messages, group chats lit up, and producers began texting reporters. Some alleged that a short voice memo leaked from inside a network office claimed the firing wasn't about ratings at all. Instead, it was something Sherri had said, something that made extremely powerful people behind the scenes uncomfortable. Just when the story seemed like it might fade into another mundane industry dispute, one person stepped in and electrified the situation: Katt Williams. Yes, that Katt Williams, the comedian known for exposing Hollywood secrets, calling out behind-the-scenes politics, and warning audiences that the entertainment world is far messier than it seems. When Katt heard about Sherri's firing, he didn't stay silent. He didn't issue a polite, measured statement. He grabbed the microphone at a comedy show in Atlanta and delivered a line that instantly set social media ablaze. "They didn't fire Sherri Shepherd because she failed," he said, pausing for dramatic effect. Then, the words that would ignite the internet. "They fired her because she stopped playing the game." Phones came out immediately. Clips of that moment exploded across Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram within minutes. Fans reacted in disbelief. Comment sections became battlegrounds. Bloggers and online detectives began tracking down sources, trying to piece together what had really happened. If Katt Williams was telling the truth, then Sherri Shepherd's cancellation wasn't a simple business decision, it was retaliation. People began looking back at the weeks leading up to the firing, and that's when things got uncomfortable. Just before the show was pulled, Sherri had done something unusual on air. She had defended Tyra Banks, not casually, not half-heartedly, but passionately. She cried on camera while explaining that audiences and outsiders don't understand the pressure celebrities face behind closed doors. At the time, viewers thought it was simply an emotional segment. Now, people wondered if that single act had pulled a thread that powerful executives didn't want unraveled. According to anonymous insiders from the production team, the segment triggered a private meeting that quickly turned into a meltdown. Executives reportedly demanded a conversation with Sherri after the episode aired. Sources described the meeting as tense, uncomfortable, and explosive. Voices were raised. Sherri refused to apologize. One producer allegedly leaked a note from the meeting that simply read, "She won't cooperate." That phrase alone reportedly caused panic behind the scenes. 2 days later, an anonymous email circulated within the network reading in bold letters, "Cancel the show before she says something worse." Nobody knows who sent it, but the timing was chilling. Katt Williams stepped into the chaos because of moments like this. Backstage at his comedy show, he didn't just casually defend Sherri. He delivered a 10-minute rant that reportedly stunned everyone into silence. He spoke about industry control, about how hosts and comedians are pressured to follow scripts they didn't write, and about the consequences of stepping out of line. Then came the revelation that set reporters digging. There's a recording of that meeting. The crowd gasped. If true, it meant the real reason for Sherri's firing might already exist on someone's phone, ready to leak. Rumors quickly spread that someone could already be threatening to release it. The chaos started innocuously. On the day of the fateful episode, the studio had an ordinary vibe. Cameras rolled, producers whispered through headsets, and audience members clapped politely. But behind the smiling hosts and polite applause, tension was already building in the production offices, all tracing back to a single segment, the Tyra Banks conversation. When Sherri defended Tyra, many viewers thought it was simply a passionate opinion on a trending topic. Behind the scenes, executives allegedly reacted very differently. Anonymous insiders claim that while defending Tyra, Sherri said something that few viewers noticed but that immediately alarmed executives. She looked directly into the camera and said, "People don't understand what really happens behind those closed doors in this industry." At first, the audience responded with polite applause, but backstage, producers reportedly whispered nervously to each other, "She's going off script." This phrase alone became a major talking point in entertainment blogs, because talk show hosts rarely speak freely. Scripts, approvals, and legal checks usually dictate every word. Going off script could send shockwaves through the entire production team. Sherri didn't stop there. Her voice shook as she continued defending Tyra, explaining that celebrities often face enormous pressure from audiences, networks, and executives, demanding constant drama. Then came the line that allegedly made executives exchange worried glances. Sometimes you're expected to say things that keep the machine running. In Hollywood slang, the machine refers to the powerful systems controlling narratives, influence, and careers. Executives reportedly saw this as a dangerous hint that Sherri might reveal secrets they preferred to remain hidden. The segment ended without incident. The audience applauded, but backstage, phones were already ringing. Less than 30 minutes after taping, Sherri received a meeting request from network leadership labeled only emergency discussion. Senior producers were summoned to a conference room where executives replayed the segment repeatedly. According to insiders, with each replay, the executives became more convinced that Sherri's words hinted at industry truths they couldn't control. The following morning, Sherri arrived at the studio, sensing the tension immediately. Staff avoided eye contact, whispers filled the air, and even makeup artists noticed something was off. A stylist recalled Sherri asking, "Why does everyone look so scared?" The reality was that clips of her defense segment were spreading online far faster than executives had anticipated. While some praised her for standing up against unfair criticism, others accused her of defending controversial behavior. Social media exploded, with thousands dissecting every word. Sherri walked into the meeting room where executives awaited. Initially polite, the discussion soon escalated. One executive asked if she intended to criticize the industry system on national television. Sherri's reply stunned the room. "I was telling the truth." Another executive warned her that her comments could be misinterpreted, but she refused to back down, asking pointedly, "Are we pretending the pressure doesn't exist?" Voices rose, papers shuffled, and Sherri made her position clear. "If you want a puppet, you hired the wrong woman." Then one executive placed a phone on the table and announced, "This conversation is being recorded." Sherri's expression reportedly changed to disbelief. If the meeting was recorded, a complete audio record existed of the exact moment she challenged the network executives controlling her show. 3 hours later, someone allegedly sent a text inside the building. They have the tape, and if it leaks, the real reason behind Sherri Shepherd's firing will be impossible to hide. Suddenly, the studio atmosphere went from tense to radioactive. Assistants checked their phones constantly, and even senior producers seemed nervous as if a catastrophe had struck. Within hours, rumors spread that someone may have duplicated the recording. Legal teams scrambled, trying to contain the situation. Anonymous tweets hinted at the audio's existence, cryptic messages suggesting that someone outside the building might already know what was on the tape. Meanwhile, the public remained focused on the Tyra Banks segment and online debate, unaware of the storm brewing behind the cameras. That night, Katt Williams stepped onto a comedy stage in Atlanta and fanned the flames. He wasn't even scheduled to address Sherri's situation, but mid-routine, he stopped, leaned forward, and delivered a line that silenced the audience. "You'll think Sherri Shepherd lost her job because of ratings. Nah, they fired her because she started talking like she knew too much." There's a recording of that meeting, and if it ever comes out, a whole lot of suits are going to be sweating. Within seconds, the clip went viral, igniting speculation, outrage, and curiosity worldwide. The saga of Sherri Shepherd's firing revealed more than the fate of a single talk show. It exposed power dynamics, the fragility of trust, and the hidden control mechanisms of daytime television. It showed how one passionate moment on air could trigger a chain reaction capable of toppling careers, reshaping networks, and igniting public debate. The story continues to unfold, and everyone watching is left wondering, who really controls the narrative, and what secrets remain hidden behind the studio walls?